All right. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy DA Select, also known as Black Cabinet Education. And of course, I am the co-host of Friendly Differences Podcast 2.0. And here is my sister, Solid Blue Sister. How you doing today?
I am fine, and I forgot to change something really quick. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. We are going to do this. I am doing fine if I can get everything together. Okay, there we go. I am fine. I am fine.
So here we are. It's a Friendly Differences Podcast. We're not on my turn to talk anymore. But anyways, like I was asking, how are you doing? How was your week and how has your day been going?
My week has been great. We've had a lot of rain here in Southern California. Rain, 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 rain. But my garden is growing so well. So well, even though I had to cover it up because it was getting too much rain. But yeah, and my day has been going really well. I've been working on a lot of projects that I have going this morning, and I'm all ready for friendly differences.
Awesome. Well, let's not beat under the bush or hide any punches. So Chris Rock has dropped a comedy special. And the comedy special is called Selective Outrage. We understand he says that for some reason we have selective outrage. I like one of the jokes he told earlier. He actually talked about people will bump Michael Jackson, but then they canceled R. Kelly, and he called that selective outrage, right? And so, and it's like it's almost as if it's still taboo to talk about Michael Jackson, but we're all happy what happened to R. Kelly, which of course I'm happy what happened to R. Kelly, but we all have this thing about we don't know if Michael Jackson was guilty or innocent, and we all understand, just like the title of this, two sides to every story. And Chris Rock, I think it was like the last 15 minutes got really juicy and spicy. Go ahead, Solid Blue.
I just have to say this since you brought up the R. Kelly and the Michael Jackson thing. I did not think that was to compare those two because I'm sorry, R. Kelly was blatant, and Michael, I'm sorry, to this day, I do not believe Michael did what he did, but I know that's getting into another show, or whatever. But you brought it up, and Chris brought it up, so I'm just making my comment on it.
Well, like we said, there's two sides to every story, and with selective outrage. So, all right, so let's jump into it. I mean, I could say overall, I thought the entire special was quite dull and boring until it got to the last about 10 minutes. I ain't gonna lie. In fact, Liz and myself, we literally fell asleep. We're on the recliner couches. We say, "Yeah, let's watch it." She put it on, and we both fell asleep. And she looked at me and as we're waking up, she said, "All right, let's go to bed." And I was like, "Yeah, I just wanted to wait until the part where he actually talked about this Will Smith and Jada Pinkett." And lo and behold, that part just happened to start right when I said that. And so I'm just like, "All right, so I guess we're here and we're listening to it." And a couple of times my jaw kind of dropped when he calls Jada Pinkett out of her name. And we're in this social climate right now where it's protect black women at all costs. And for him to come out with a blatant B word, and he literally calls it that B, and he calls Will Smith it 100 times. And I mean, you watched it. What was your feelings about the show?
I will say, first of all, I watched it only because my co-host DA said to watch it because we were doing this show. Otherwise, I would not have watched it. I didn't like the whole B word. I thought it was unnecessary. But at the same time, when he's calling Will Smith that, you know, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I think Will Smith did a bitch move on Chris Rock. I'm
Did she
sorry.
really?
I'm just gonna come out and say it. I mean, since we talked about the B word, it was a bitch move. I'm sorry.
Okay. So now that now that the gloves are off, so the word is a bitch, right? Gloves are off, and we are ready to get this underway. All right, so he goes on, and I honestly think that he got carried away with the word bitch. I thought he got carried away.
Yes, he did.
The reason why, because he was saying Will Smith the bitch, Will Smith the bitch, Will Smith the bitch, and then out of nowhere he said, and then that bitch, and I'm just like, and you can hear the whole crowd. It's almost like the breath came out of the crowd, like he just called Jada. he just called Jada, and it's almost like no matter, and you know, we're really in that climate where it's almost where it's like no matter how, and hear me out, and I hope this doesn't counsel me later on because it's just the climate that we're in. No matter how much fault is to the lady, for some reason in this day and age, calling them the B word is just a taboo thing. What I mean by that is, think about it. Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and them, they've been calling women bees and hoes forever, and we glorified them. We listened to their Ain't Nothing But a G thing. We listened to Doggy Style. We did all that and calling a woman a B, and then women took that name back. I hear women calling each other bees. Oh man, you B, and but they're saying that as like a term of endearment, almost like the N word. And now Chris Rock, yeah, you never heard women call each other
No,
that
no, no.
before?
I have heard that. I'm just disagreeing with women calling each other that because you know how I feel about that.
Yeah,
So
I know, right. I'm just getting things
I know
together, the
you are,
climate,
you are.
and
Go ahead.
so you're it's almost like we turned the corner. We turned the corner. I mean, Snoop Dogg literally has. There was, remember, Snoop Dogg literally was walking down the street and had chains around women's neck, walking them down the street like they were dogs at one point.
Okay, but whose fault is that?
Well, I think it's both because I think it's the women for actually doing it, but then it's also Snoop Dogg because and I'm just,
No,
I
no.
guess.
I mean, it is both of their faults, but I'll be damned if I'm going to allow man or woman to put a chain around my neck and walk me around like I'm a dog.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I understand. I guess I'm just saying the climate
I understand what
around
you're saying. I
the
understand.
climate around the word bitch is changed a lot. And I know my mom's gonna watch this and everything. And so it's just, mom, I'm just doing it for the show, doing it for the show. Okay. But tell me, what's your feelings about the word bitch anyway?
Well, as I don't like it. I don't call other women or people out of their name. If you call me one, we gonna have a problem. It's not a term of endearment. It's an insult, and to allow yourself to be called that, to me, you don't respect yourself. And first and foremost, I respect myself. So
Now, solid. You just said earlier what Will Smith did was a bitch move.
I said it was a bitch move. I didn't say he was a bitch. I said it was a bitch move.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, I got it. Okay.
Okay.
So,
So
so in other
so
words, now you're saying a bitch move is different from being a bitch yourself.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll buy that. I'll buy that. That's
Yeah.
good.
I mean, because you could be you can call someone stupid, or you can say what you did was really stupid. I'm not calling you stupid. I'm just saying that
Okay.
what you did was really stupid. So
All right. Well. Let's set the stage. We could go on the Chris Rock side, but let's rewind back to the night of the Oscars. And when you watch the infamous slap, and when we see it, and of course, now people need to understand the Oscars have had fights, dragged out fights by white men all the time, and they kind of sweep them under the rugs. But because this is black people, I think what Chris Rock says at the very end, and we'll get back to what he said at the end, because it's black people involved. There are certain things that, for some we cannot show white people are asses, and so let's get back to the show. Chris Rock, he's on stage. Well, I'm gonna rewind back to what Chris Rock said first. He says that Jada Pinkett asked him to quit his job or told him to quit his job. And so this frames everything because we
told
don't.
him to not to host. That's what
Right,
she said, not to
right. Well,
host the Oscars.
that's his job. That his job
Right,
was
but
to
I'm
host.
saying, but for in terms of people who are listening, just to be clear, that he wasn't talking about just like a regular job or a movie thing, whatever. It was hosting the Oscars.
Right. Okay. So Jada Pinkett tells him stop hosting the Oscars, basically boycott the Oscars because Will Smith was not nominated for concussion.
Concussion.
And in which I think he did a good job acting in that. I know you don't watch Will Smith, so you probably haven't seen it, but he plays a doctor, and basically a doctor talking about the CT scans and people's head. And Will Smith, he has a knack for acting, losing weight, gaining weight, doing things like that. doing what he has to do. But she felt that he deserved an Oscar for it. He didn't get nominated, so she kind of wants to put up this boycott of the Oscars and tells him that he needs to stop hosting the Oscars. And what he says is, "How are you going to ask another black man to stop doing his job?" And so when you hear both sides of it, it's like, okay, so now there's this animosity because he doesn't do that. And so now the pot is getting stirred. Do you see any, I guess before we get on to the next step of this, do you see anything that was wrong with her asking him to quit the Oscars because her husband didn't get nominated? I mean, now also let's set this thing straight. This is at also during a time where she's going through an entanglement and she's still she still asks him to step down because of her husband. So what do you think?
Okay, so you're saying that she's asking him to step down while she's going through this entanglement. Well, first of all, one has nothing to do with the other. She can do whatever the hell she wants. It has nothing to do with her asking, Chris Rock to not host the Oscars. I think during that time, I mean, I have not watched the Oscars in so long.
Me
And
too. I don't watch it
I
either.
had to see the slap on YouTube.
That's right.
But at that time, Jada, I do know that her main push was for a lot of black people not to attend the Oscars, or if they were supposed to, give an award, whatever, not to do it because of Will Smith. Um, that's her choice. She chose to boycott. She chose to ask people not to go. She chose to ask Chris Rock not to host. That was her choice.
Well, I
It
mean,
is also his choice to say no and say, I am still going to host because this is what I choose to do.
well,
And she should not have gotten upset over that.
I have a problem with that because you only want to boycott when you don't get it your way. Had
Okay.
Will, had Will Smith, see, the thing is, black people have been systematically treated wrong in the Oscars from day one. And this whole time, you and your husband has been getting treated, I'm gonna put quotation marks, right. And the minute he is not nominated for something, now you want to grab your ball and go home and tell everybody let's boycott. When
That's why I said that she can't get mad at Chris Rock because he chose to still go move forward and to host. I mean, that was his choice. You can't get mad at me if you can't tell me not to do it. You
no,
can ask me, but like
but,
you
but my
said,
thing, but even the act of asking and wanting the boycott. See, my thing is, if you are winning and asking for a boycott, that's one thing. But you don't ask for a boycott after you lose, after you don't get your way. It's like going to the basketball court and you having a nice good ball, and everybody says, "Hey, you want to play with your ball?" You say yes, and then they pick teams. You don't get picked. You grab your ball and go home. You can't do that.
okay. I'm gonna go there. I don't want to spend time on it because this is not the show that we're doing, but we're talking about
Okay,
boycotts. And
got
as
it.
you know, I'm heading up this nationwide boycott. So can people say the same thing about me? That now black people not getting their way, whatever. So I'm boycotting whatever. I mean, don't you have a choice to you can choose to join
But
in or you
hear
can
what you
choose
said.
not to.
Hear what you said. You said black people aren't getting in their way, so you're boycotting. I'm saying that black people weren't getting their way with the Oscars for a long time, but as long as they were getting nominated, she wasn't trying to boycott. Her boycott was a personal
It
boycott
was.
based on right. So my thing is, you can't get personal and ask all black people to do something. My thing is, if Will was winning it and you come out and say let's boycott, now you have a little bit more grounds. If
Mhm.
you're sitting here trying to say all black people aren't treated the same, black people are being shut out, black people this, black people that, let's do a boycott. I would be 100 for her. But it was the minute you as a black person wasn't getting your way, now it's time to boycott. And I have a problem with that because,
Well,
like I
yeah,
said,
yeah,
two sides to every story.
yeah. You're
And,
right.
and if her side of the story is only let's boycott the Oscars because Will Smith did not get nominated, I kind of have a problem with Jada at that point because If you weren't talking boycott years before that, if you weren't talking, hey, let's boycott this the year before when Will Smith was nominated for this, I still want to boycott. If you were talking about we as black people should boycott from day one, I would be like, you know what? That's noble. I got you. You're trying to do it all for black people. I understand, but not off the whim of, oh, my husband didn't get nominated for a movie I thought he did great in. Then let's boycott the Oscars. No, I think she's wrong.
No, I mean, on that note, and the way you break it down, absolutely, because in that case, I mean, there are so many people over the years, black and white, who could boycott because they didn't get nominated. Or you have, hell, Paul Newman, he could have boycotted because he didn't win until after 20 million times or whatever. So you're right. She did make it personal. And the other thing that I want to say is, when you, and I'm not necessarily talking about the host,
Right.
when you are in the public eye, like we are, because
That's
I
right.
know I'm getting my share of hits, whatever, people come, they criticize me constantly. You have to expect people are going to get up on stage and make jokes about you, are going to do a TikTok about you, are going to do a Saturday Night Live skit. And, you can get pissed, but you put yourself in that position. And when Chris Rock got up on that stage and said what he said, did he go too far? Maybe. But then again, what's his name? Ricky Gervais, he has said worse, you
Well,
know.
well,
But
too, and I like what you just said. Did he go too far? Uh, all right. So solid. If I came to your home and I hit you on the head with a garbage can, the garbage can lid, bing! I hit you on the head with a garbage can lid. What would you do?
I pick up that garbage can lid and try to slap the crap out of you.
Okay, so you would
And
return the
I
garbage can
and
lid.
and I would put you out of my house.
Okay, so you put me out of your house and you hit me with a garbage can lid. Anything else? So basically, you just even it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so I come from this. I come from a school of thought where, you cannot dictate how I react and tell me I went too far.
I didn't say I said, did he go too far?
Right? No, but hear what I'm saying. Hear what I'm saying. If Chris Rock comes back and says and does what he does, my thing is, some might say Chris Rock went too far. I don't think he went too far because we cannot be in the business of telling people how they should react to certain things. The man was slapped on national TV. And however he responds, I think he gets to respond.
Well, when I said did he go too far, I was talking about before the slap.
Okay.
So
Okay. I
that's
know we're,
that's
we're
that's
gonna
what I
get there.
meant. Yeah,
We're
so
gonna
that's
get
what I
there.
meant. But no, you cannot dictate how people are, and how people react, and that's why I said that when you are in the public eye, you have set yourself up and put yourself in a position where people are going to say whatever. People, when you are in anywhere public, people are going to make a comment. I mean, hell, if you go to the grocery store wearing something crazy, you put yourself in the position where the lady behind you, ready to check out, is going to be whispering about you, or whatever, because you chose to put yourself out there. So
You're right. You're right. All right. So I think Katie says hello, and I know Josephine been up here for a while saying hello.
I have also greeted
Hello.
them, and
Greetings to
I
you.
also greeted
I know.
Grid. Yes.
So, all right. So now we get to, okay. So we got that part, and we kind of unpacked that. Just how she, like I said, I think she was out of order for doing that. Like I said, it was more personal. It wasn't overall for a liberation of black people, or black people finally trying to get a stance. So now let's get to it. So he did not do that. Also, there's a joke that was said before. I heard some comments that, um, he had already asked Chris Rock, don't make a joke about his wife. We understand that someone else write the prompts about the GI Jane. Will Smith does laugh at first, and his wife gives him a side eye. And due to the side eye, he gets serious. He walks down, and he delivers a slap. And you know, I think he took that slap like a man. I think he took it. I think he took a slap, and we're gonna talk about why he didn't retaliate right then. But I think he did a wonderful job of taking that slap.
He did, but for Will Smith to get up and actually do that, that's where again I say that was a B move.
Right, right. And so, but okay, so all over the world, before everybody found the backstory to it, everyone in the world was like, Will Smith was protecting black women. A lot of people rose to the occasion. That's how you protect black women, and this is how you do it. And you see what he did for his wife. He protected his wife's dignity. He protected his wife's pride. And everybody was, I mean, you heard so many different things about it. And you had another side talking about, man, we really don't know the other side of the story. And no lie, I was part of the ones that jumped on the bandwagon of Will Smith. Show Chris Rock what's up. Chris Rock need to shut his mouth, and he said, don't talk, keep his wife's mouth out of, I mean, keep his wife's name out of his mouth. And so I was a big proponent of Will Smith and the slap until I got the other side of the story. What about
Well,
you?
see, this is the thing. Again, I'm not a Will Smith fan, and when the next day I heard on the news about the slap, I'm like, what happened? I had no clue what had happened. I had to go back to YouTube and kind of watch from the beginning to the end to see, get the whole context of it. And I wasn't on Will Smith's side. I wasn't not just because I don't like Will Smith, but even if the situation was turned, it was Chris Rock who did it. If it was Sam Jackson or whomever slapped someone, for you to get up and do that in a public, just to do it, period. But you did it in public on a night that was supposed to be your night, and you overshadowed that. So now people are not even talking about your win or anything else. All they're seeing is this. So whether there's a backstory or not, to me, the backstory has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that you made a choice to physically hit someone in front of a billion people. To me, it made you look small. I don't care if it was Will Smith, if it was Chris Rock, if it was me, if it was my husband, if it was you look small.
Okay. Can you say it how you said at the beginning of the show? I like the word you use better. What did you do? What type of move was it?
I said it was a bitch move.
Okay. All right, there I'm just saying. So in other words, out of all this, you still do a bitch move, and oh, my mom's here, and I just said that. Darn it. Anyway,
Hello, Miss Deborah.
so anyways, the whole thing is, so he gets this, but what everyone thinks the biggest disgrace was is almost what Chris Rock says. When your wife was in this entanglement, or in this situation, whatever the situation may be, a lot of people were talking about him, calling him out. There's some YouTubes where he's crying about it at the table talk. You can see he's clearly hurt about everything he's hearing. Regardless on what we heard about what type of relationship they have, was it an open relationship, were they broken up at the time? Regardless, you can see that he's clearly hurt, and everybody and their grandma is talking about Will Smith. And like Chris Rock says, he says all these people he could have confronted. My thing is, Will Smith never verbally confronted nobody. He never tweeted to confront anybody. But he it's almost like he held everything in, and he found the littlest guy to go smack. And I like how he said, dude, he said, you played Muhammad Ali. I played Pookie. Yeah.
That was funny. That part was funny.
That was funny,
That
right?
that, that, that did make me laugh.
I mean, it's just the whole thing is all right. So Kate says joking about someone's medical condition, disability without permission is not cool. That is correct. Okay, so you're talking about the alopecia that Jada Pinkett suffers from, and we understand that, and I don't think right, but and another thing, he didn't have to say the joke because we understand the joke was written by somebody else, and he did not have to say that joke. And you're correct, making fun of someone's medical condition, especially if you know that there's something going on. But like I said, it's a tit for tat
Now,
situation.
what supposedly? I mean, I don't. And see, this is why stories like this is like it's like this whole thing. It's like y'all, come
Yeah.
on now. Um, Supposedly, didn't Chris Rock say that he didn't know that it was alopecia? That he thought that she was just shaving her head.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that part, but the thing is, it's been widely known that she had alopecia.
See, I didn't honestly. I didn't know, but then again, I don't follow that
Right.
stuff. So
Well, I knew about it because I think it was something that there was something where it was her and her daughter or someone else, and she cried about her hair loss and everything else. I know she was struggling with that. When the GI Jane comment came out, I can honestly think I don't think he was actually making fun of her disability. I think it was a segue about that, just being and don't get me wrong, Jada's a beautiful bald headed woman. I don't care what you say. She is a beautiful woman. Jada Smith is a you know Jada is just a very pretty woman,
hmm
and hair or no hair, she's a very pretty woman. And so I can't honestly say that he was making fun of her medical disability. I don't think, and just Chris Rock doesn't come off to me as a person that would make. Now I know these comics, a lot of things are open. I understand that, but I just don't think that he was making fun of a medical disability. He was just saying that she could already play the role. And now Chris Rock did say in his stand-up, he said basically she opened the door, I was just shutting it. And what he means by that is she started it. She was talking about him first. So, and am I saying that he should have said something back? I don't know, but we cannot be in the business of telling people how they should respond.
No, I mean, no, you're absolutely right. And I have always said to people when people have said to me, "Wow, what you just said was really mean" or whatever. I'm like, "You open the door, I'm walking through." If you give me that opening, and if you, like you said, if you start something, then don't be offended with what I come back with. But again, whatever led up to that, whether it was her getting upset because he did not step down from being a host, whether or not whatever entanglement she was in, who cares? You know, to me, it still did not give the right for this man to put his hands on another man.
Exactly. And I'm just gonna say it, especially in front of white people. And we can say that to the end about how we feel about we us acting out in public and how we're perceived. Black people are already perceived as thank you, mom. Black people are already perceived as um already a violent group of people. And because people have already drawn this narrative about black people saying that we are inherently violent, I think at that point, I think they could have shown a little bit of patience, a little bit of not self-awareness, a little bit of self-control. All those things, could have happened. But and I can tell you that just hearing Chris Rock's side of the story illuminates the entire situation. Like I said, I was very pro Will Smith, very pro. That's right, stand up for the woman. That's right, stand up for Jada. People talked about it on TikTok the next morning. There was lives about it. People were talking about it, and I don't think. And now, after hearing this side of the story, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this side of the story yet. But for me, I just I kind of had this more of a victory for Chris Rock type attitude. Like, that's right, Chris. Fight back. And you always want to see people fight back when they're getting bullied, because at that point, Will Smith was the bully. You're clearly bigger. He's clearly not going to fight you on stage, and you took a space of time to do something that you would call a bitch move.
Well, and also I thought that when this happened, if people jumped on the Will Smith bandwagon, whatever, I'm like, why? Because I actually thought that Will Smith should have been um, um, escorted out, and had he won his Oscar, they would have had to send it to him. I did not believe that he should have been allowed to sit there through the rest of the show when he physically hit someone. I just thought that that was wrong. I mean,
No, I agree. I agree. With the assault, I know they asked Chris Rock, did he want to press charges? He said no. And it takes a lot to not want to see a black man get arrested, and that's another reason why I say, wow, in this day and age. uh,
but see, I don't want to turn it into a whole black and white thing, because what Will Smith did, I don't think it was a black, white, green, blue, whatever thing. I think it was a person who did a B move, and it was wrong. It was wrong,
I
and
mean,
he should not have done it.
the reason why I came out to bring this toward black and white is because I'm trying to drive in the point that Chris Rock made at the very end. And I do think that there are black white things to it, because if you look in the past of the Oscars, there have been white people who've gotten to drag out fights at the Oscars, and it didn't make this type of noise as it was. Yes, white people are they gaslight the situation. You didn't hear anything about the white people who got into fights at the Oscars. In fact,
Okay, can you give me an
and that's
example?
the thing. I can't even name them. But I know at that time I looked them all up. I looked them up at the time, and I was like, wow, I forgot that happened. I forgot that happened. But when it's black people, white people do the dog whistling and gaslighting. When black people, it's like, oh, see, we can't take them anywhere. This is how black people act when they get upset. The whole thing is, I really do think that Will Smith he put a black eye on not just himself, but you know how it is when black people do something wrong, the entire black community has to take the grunt of anyone that if anyone black does something, we got to hold the whole grunt of it. And that's just how it's been, and that's how society sees us.
Well, I mean, society will always see us like that, but I'm sitting here trying to Google some stuff, and I don't, and let's see, but I mean, I know there have been arguments and fights that have broken outside on the red carpet, but not that I know of that have actually been in the uh, Oscars themselves when the ceremony, whatever you want to call it, is going on. But again, I say what Will Smith did was wrong. He should not have done it. If he wanted to slap, Chris Rock, or have words for him after the fact and pull him, backstage and say whatever, or walk him to his car and knock him out, whatever. That's one thing. But to do it in front of a billion people, sorry.
Yeah, listen, I agree. I agree. And like I said at the beginning, I was like, okay, when the slap first happened, I was just like, whoa, I ain't gonna lie, I was like, Macho Man, that's what I'm talking about. Will Smith protecting his wife, but that's because I didn't have the other side of the story. The side of the story that I got from it was, hey, they asked him, can you not make the joke? Can you not do this? Can you not do that? And still, he went ahead and did it. That's before you heard Chris Rock's side of the story. Will Smith, uh, you know, I can tell you this, I don't think Will Smith has gotten the grunt of I don't you know but then I don't want to pull up this thing that we had to counsel Will Smith for what he did, because we clearly don't counsel other people for the things that they do and the black eyes that they put on the Oscars, such as like even back when Hattie McDonald had to sit by herself with her agent in the corner. she had to go in through the back way just to
Mhm,
go to the Oscars herself.
mhm,
I mean, the Oscars has a history of treating black people bad.
mhm.
So I also don't want to get it to the point where I think that Will Smith should be canceled. I think precautions should have happened. Things should have been done. Things should have been said. But I also don't want to drag him through the whole mud when when we don't do the same thing with the white counterparts.
I understand what you're saying, but the thing that I struggle with is that, uh, again, because while you're talking, I'm sitting here trying to look up violence at the Oscars. All I see is things that people have said and people have said to someone or whatever, but it was not anything where someone attacked someone. Um, would the same thing have happened if it was Brad Pitt who hit another white guy? I don't know. Um, but again, I just say that Will Smith made a very bad choice, and he should have been escorted out. He should not have been allowed to go back to his seat and sit there. Um,
So that answers my one of my first questions here. I have a question here. Was Will Smith justified?
and then
Uh
Josephine says Will slapped a
the
reporter
reporter,
too. I mean,
I seen. So
it's
does Will Smith have a violent history? I don't know.
so and again, the whole backstory and whatever Jada was doing in her own personal time, it's like that has nothing to do with what Will Smith did.
Well, mom, just let you know, he did apologize. Will Smith has apologized. He went on a whole apology tour. He has apologized for it, and so I know you're saying he was wrong in the subject. He should he has apologized. Uh, so my next question here was, who's really at fault?
Will Smith, he's the one that hit.
Okay,
Because
okay.
I'm just looking at the action. I'm not looking at I mean, I am looking at the whole, but the problem is you have one person who's telling jokes, talking about this person. You have another person's wife who is doing this, whatever. Then you have this other person who's sitting there. He's kind of like in the middle, doing like this, going back and forth between the two of them. But then he chose to get up and hit this person. So that's just like saying, who's at fault if if you push somebody so much that I go back to my house and I grab a gun and I come back and I shoot everybody. Yeah, you push me, but I still made the conscious choice to go and get that gun and come back and shoot everyone. I'm the one that's ultimately in the wrong.
Right. Well, I look at it like this, and I'm not blaming. Trust me, I'm not. But I think Jada could have laughed it off too.
Okay, but okay, so she
I'm
did.
just I'm just I'm just looking at
No,
all the
I mean,
different.
no. I mean, I understand that you're playing both sides here, whatever. I totally get that. But the thing is, whether or not she laughed it off or whatever, he still got up and he hit this man.
Does he get up and hit the man if his wife laughs off the joke too? He was clearly laughing.
Okay, so well then if but so now it's her fault because she didn't laugh it off.
I'm not saying it's
So
her fault. I'm not saying it's her fault. I'm not saying it's her fault. But in Chris Rock words, but I understand. I'm just saying. No, all I'm getting at is someone said right here. I mean, all of them have something to do with this because I think the early ball starts rolling when Jada literally asked uh, Chris Rock on her own volition to step down from the Oscars. If she never tells him to step down for the Oscars because she has this, and I'm gonna tell you this, it was a Will Smith never asked him to step down from the Oscars because he didn't win. She did. She got the ball rolling when she told another grown man to basically quit what you're doing, stop your little paycheck because we're gonna boycott the Oscars because my family's feelings is hurt because my husband did not get the award or nominated for it. So and she now and she does it in a way of trying to have black solidarity, but she's never had black solidarity before. And so I am of the one to say, how dare you ask black people to do something when it's for you and you never tried to do it for black people in the first place. And so I think she has to take some blame for it because Chris Rock said in the stand up, he said, she started it. What do? I finish it. And I cannot tell Chris Rock not how to finish it. So if he makes the joke about the GI Jane, that was his way of finishing it. Now, Will Smith opens up another door. After those are there, like you say, he comes and he slaps him. The thing is, now Will Smith's on an apology tour, and now we finally get to hear Chris Rock speak. And the passion in which he said, I loved him. He said, I loved him. I was there when he opened up for Ron DMC. I was there when he did this. He said, I always wanted to see that man succeed. I never, I mean, that part right there was I ain't gonna lie, that was a very touching part. He literally said, I loved him. And what do you know? He comes and slaps me. Now, I do have a problem with him glorifying slavery and beating of slavery. When he says, I watched the movie, watch Master get him, hit him again, Master, hit him again. Yeah, I don't I don't like that part. I understand it was comedy.
It
I understand
was.
because well, we understand that these whips aren't real. So even the whips that he said, those are fake
Mhm,
whips. So
mhm.
hit him again, Master. We understand those are fake. So the joke, it was a fake joke. But at the end of the day, do you understand? I got hit on stage. And he said, you didn't get, he said, what did he say? You didn't get recommended for concussion, and your man came and gave me a concussion. I mean, just the whole thing is you put your hands on a man. And so a lot of people, and you got to understand not only was Will Smith being ridiculed, but people were literally calling this other man soft. Will Smith does the bitch move, and everybody called Chris Rock a bitch for taking it and not fighting back. And that's what we have to deal with in the black community. If we don't stand up for ourselves, we're soft. If we don't retaliate, we a bitch. If we don't do certain things the way you did it to us, everybody looks at us as if we're a person that now can be taken advantage of. So I just know right now that this man had to walk around for a long time before he said his story. He had to walk around with a lot of this. I mean, his parents seen it. That's another thing, man.
But
His
see, but
parents
see, I
seen it.
think,
His
but see,
kids.
I have different. I have a different a viewpoint, and Katie says he could have called out and said that's not cool, man. I mean, I think the way Chris Rock handled it was perfect. He showed he was the bigger person, which I sometimes don't like doing. Why do we always have to show that we're the bigger person? But he didn't do anything. Why should he have to? Why does he have to prove to the world that he's not soft? Why does he have to prove to the world that that he can hit somebody back? He doesn't have to do that. Who are we that other people have to prove to us their manhood or their womanhood? We shouldn't have to prove anything to anybody. You know, um, you know, people will. I have somebody who criticizes my show constantly. And I always say
Mhm.
to this person, I'm like, well, who are you? Who are you? I
That's
mean,
right.
it's like you don't like it, don't watch it, but you keep coming back. So
Mhm.
you know, um, the bottom line for me is Will Smith hit this man, but at the same time, and I know you're getting there. I'm just pushing you there a little bit.
I know. I got you.
Um, we're always talking about what black people can't do and shouldn't do and what have you, but I'm watching this whole show last night and I'm cringing every
Yes.
time Chris Rock is using the N word 50 million times in a group of white people where you're making a joke. And then we turn around and say, and get mad at white people when they say, well, why can't we say it? And you're
That's correct.
saying it constantly. So now I say to Chris Rock, what's the difference between you're using this word 50 million times? Yes, I'm exaggerating over 50 million,
Yeah. No, he
but
said a lot.
but then I don't know. It's like,
Right. I mean, I'm all part of the abolish the N word movement. I'm all part of that. I understand. But I will say this. As we start, closing up, because like this doesn't have to be a long one. I'll tell you this. From this is how I look at it. I think just like you said, I think Chris Rock handled it great. As far as him being on stage and the stage presence, he's always been known to say the N word 50 million times.
Mhm.
I mean, that's his show. That's what he's known for. Um, he's known for using that word 50 million times, and that's what's been bread and his butter. I understand that, but the part that I do understand is, uh, I understand the big payback, the shade that he threw all over the stage.
He was.
I mean,
That he definitely did.
yeah, I would tell you the biggest shade that you could do is those shade on a person's parents.
Oh yeah.
He says, "Why didn't you do nothing?" He says, "Because I have parents." He wasn't just saying because I have parents, but he also told Will Smith, "What did your parents teach you?"
Exactly. That you were not raised right.
Exactly. The shade of it
Mhm.
all.
Mhm.
That was such big shade.
Mhm.
He said, "Because I got parents," and everybody's like, "Ooh, yeah, I got parents." And just that word right there, I got parents. I didn't hit him back because I got parents. My parents told me, "Hey, when a what you didn't hit him because you got parents? Oh, snap! So we try. Oh, we'll be in barbaric. We'll be in a barbaric, and
Mhm.
oh, maybe he was
Mhm.
raised by a pack of wolves. Now I'm just saying, just how you look at it.
So then,
But
DA, then let me ask this then. Is it so much that black people don't fight back or, we're being soft, or is it the fact that we were raised right? That some of us don't do it because we were raised right. We were raised that there's just certain things you don't do. You just wait, just hold on. It is coming. It's just not coming now. That we were raised that certain things that you just, okay,
yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
so I shared with the book club. So I was walking. I was at work one day, and I went to go tell somebody something, and there was this belligerent person who didn't even belong on the property. And as I was walking back, the guy, he probably called me the N word about 4 or 5 times. You ain't nothing but a okay. Come over here and fight me, man. I'm just like, man, I tell you, uh, part of me wanted to fight. Other part said, I'm gonna go to my office. And I said, look, I'm gonna go to my office, go to my job. You just get out the property. You ain't got no real job. And I'm looking at, and I could have said stuff like, I'm not the homeless one. I could have said a whole lot of things, but I got parents. And so, I mean, I could have acted out. I could have said a whole lot of things to him. I could have followed him off the property and fought him.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came home and I told my family about it, and it was like, you know, and I said, I didn't do anything because as we're sitting there eating around the table, I said, I'm the only one that has something to lose in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
If I fight him, I'm the only one that has something to lose. And so my thing is, it's not just about being raised right, but also Chris Rock didn't lose anything. Will Smith is the one that lost that night.
Exactly.
He lost. Not only
Exactly.
did he lose in endorsements. Not only did they had to delay his show from coming out, but the shade of it is you embarrass not just you embarrass your parents. I mean,
Mhm.
and like we said, because we're all black people and we all have to hold the grunt of things, he embarrassed a lot of us.
Well, he showed out. He showed his ass, and unfortunately, like you said, he was the one who had a lot to lose. And in terms of, and then you look back at Jada in terms of you getting upset because Chris didn't step down that year in hosting the Oscars. Yes, your husband finally won his Academy Award, but he lost it because it was overshadowed by all of this. I have yet to hear a lot of people say anything about yes, and and Will Smith finally won, or he did this, and his performance was this and this. You don't hear that because all people are talking about is what your husband did. So yeah, he won an Academy Award, but he also lost it.
I have a question. What do you win an Oscar for again?
Uh, Whatever his last role. I'm
No,
not
but
a fan.
no, but I'm saying you're so right with what you
Oh,
just said.
I mean, right.
Well,
I
look,
mean, it's
I,
like,
I
yeah.
can't. Was it best actor? Was it best actor?
It was best actor.
And
Oh,
that's it. I don't even remember the movie he won it for because all I remember is the slap. I honestly I don't even know. I forgot what movie was he in. What movie was he in that was so great? I don't know because now when I think about Will Smith, I'm always gonna have that moment in my eyes about him going up there and slapping. The last thing um I'll talk about personal responsibility, right? And to me, I think we they all have personal responsibility to heal after this situation, to go on with their life and continue. I'm gonna tell you right now, the shade is not just coming from Chris Rock. His brother did a stand up the other day,
I heard about that. Oh,
and his brother was like, and his brother was talking so much stuff, and his brother not only did he throw shade at Will Smith, he said, "Man, we got 10 brothers. What you want to do?" I was
okay. So let me ask this because do you think, considering the climate that we're in, the country being so divisive, do you think that had anything to do with Will Smith having the balls to get up there and do it? Like, if you were to rewind the Academy Awards 10 years, even five years, would Will Smith still had done what he did because of the climate that we're in now? Everybody's just hitting people and beating people up and knocking people in the head, whatever. Do you think that the climate had anything to do with him having the nerve to get up there and put his hands on Chris Rock?
like I said, okay, so if let's go back to 2020. I know we hate to bring it up, or it's a very remembrance. But Big George Floyd and this 2020. What you got to look at the climate that erupted. You're coming off Mike Brown, Eric Gardner. Um, you're coming off because at the time we didn't even know about Breonna Taylor or Ahmaud Arbery. Remember that we did not know about them at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming off of what's her man? I can't believe I forgot her name. What was the young lady who was taking out the car when she was smoking? Oh my goodness.
You talking about Sandra Bland?
Yes, and you got Sandra Bland. We're still thinking of Tamir Rice. Who's forever with us is Emmett Till. We always think about Emmett Till, but you have all these different things that's going on. And what happens is you have the condition. Here's the conditions. The conditions is people have been in their house during a pandemic for a long time. And what boils over, and I'm getting somewhere with this. And what happens is we see George Floyd murdered on TV, and that was the condition. The conditions was that's the Popeye. That's all I can stand. I can't stand more. And now we all start to erupt. We start to rioting not just here but overseas in Europe and everywhere else. During these riots, we hear about
I
the
don't
young.
like that word,
Well, right, okay, the
riot.
uprising,
We were
uprisings.
protesting.
Well, let's call it uprisings. I know they call it riots. I call it. Well, I call it. I like call it uprisings, or also call it righteous rebellions. Okay, so I love the word righteous rebellions, but we're in the streets. We are rebelling against this structure, and as we are rebelling in all these different cities. Then you hear about Breonna Taylor, you hear about young Ahmaud Arbery during these rebellions, and of course these cause us to even rebel a lot more because we're asking something from the structure. So, and I'm gonna tie this into this. Now let's go back. Will Smith, he's at this table with his wife on TV, not privately, not at their own home, not in a peaceful setting, not where a person can be honest and open and talk about his hurt, but you're on a TV set with cameras, you're invited to a table talk, and you have to relive your wife is having sex with your son's friend. TV show after TV show after TV show, this is going on. You want to show your wife that you still love her, you want to show your wife that you still care, and because everyone on TV is now calling you a B word, you have somewhere you got to show everybody that I still love this woman. And what I'm getting at is the conditions were set perfect. I'm not trying to say it was right. Hold on, I'm not trying to say it's right, but I'm just trying to show you the conditions of the uprisings and the conditions of his boiling over. He wasn't right, but I'm saying all the conditions were there. and all he needed was for one person to put his wife's name in his mouth, and that was the conditions that were set. I'm not saying that it's right, but I'm saying that we got to understand those are so to
Okay,
answer
but
your
sure. Okay,
question.
but see, but okay, but
Well, hold on, well, hold on.
you
Let me finish. Let me
go
finish
ahead.
this. Take away all those conditions. I don't think he slaps him.
Okay, so first of
So
all,
that's the answer. Take away
okay,
those conditions. He doesn't slap him.
first of all, I've used this before. I've used this with Kanye, and I'm gonna use it with you now. I think you're giving Will Smith a pass. I think you're assuming that just because he decided to
I'm not giving him
show.
a pass.
Hold on. No, because you're saying that set up the conditions for this man to show his wife, honey, I'm still a man. I'm get up there, whatever. I'm just saying that Will Smith on Table Talk, whatever, he chose to put out there in public something that was very, very private. And
Yes,
whatever relationship you have with your wife, whether y'all have an open marriage, a closed marriage, whatever, you chose to put your business in
on the
in
street.
in the street.
No,
So
I agree.
I don't, and you're assuming that set up the whole thing, whatever, that you
No,
are assuming
I,
that. And then
no, okay.
Miss Deborah said, she said, no, it was the look from his wife. Whether it was the look from his wife, I don't think it was the look from his wife. I think that Will Smith made a conscious choice to get up there and slap this man.
Okay,
So
yes. No,
so
no.
whether or
But hear
not
what I'm
it was
saying,
because
but
2
I'm not.
years
It's not a
prior.
pass. It's not a pass. You're asking me. You asked me a question. You said, "Look back 10 years ago.
Yes, and
Do you
yes,
think?
I
Do
did.
you think the climate and the condition that you asked the question?" And my honest answer
But you
is,
are assuming. You are
you asked me a
assuming
question.
that that's what.
5 years. 5 years ago, Will Smith doesn't put a hand on him.
Okay.
I'm saying, but 5 years
But
ago,
okay, but you also, but okay, you're saying 5 years ago Will Smith doesn't put a hand on him, but you also made a point of saying that he's sitting at this table and he's talking
yes,
about his
but
wife.
but 5 years ago that didn't happen. That's what I'm saying. 5 years ago, none of that
I
happened.
mean, so you're assuming that's the
I'm not assuming.
catalyst.
I'm trying to say that all this goes into your psyche. All this goes into your psyche. I mean, come on, we're human beings. There's nuances to everything. My thing is, if Will Smith is not going, if his wife is not in an entanglement, if there is no
You
show,
are
if
assuming, but you're
look,
assuming all these
if
things.
everybody's not calling this man the B word on radio, Charlemagne the God, if all these people were not calling him all this stuff, he just doesn't do it. But the fact is, everyone's calling you out of your name. Everybody's testing your manhood. Everybody's doing this. All
Okay,
you
all right, okay. So let me ask this. Let's rewind about 15 years.
okay?
It
15
could
years
be
now.
it could be 20 years by now. The infamous interview with Barbara Walters, Mike Tyson, and Robin
Givens,
Givens.
the liar. Okay.
And she sits up there and just drags her husband through the mud, insults him, calls him all kinds of names, whatever. Should Mike Tyson have slapped her? Was he called, oh man, you sat there like a P or you sat there like a B, whatever? I mean, should
Did he
he have?
slap her?
No, he didn't. I'm
Exactly.
just saying that you are put in situations that what Mike Tyson did was he divorced her. So how come Will just couldn't divorce
But
Jada
but
and
but
call
but,
it
but
a
I
day?
think but I think he was divorcing her anyway with all the crazy allegations that she came out with. So divorcing her, I mean, my, I
And Miss Deborah, I know you keep saying the
my
wife, but
my,
I'm
my,
going
my
to keep pushing
I
back on
don't-
that.
Mike Tyson, there you go. It's a different situation,
It was a different situation, but
right?
I'm just saying that
You
you still have you still. I guess my point is this: you still have a catalyst. You are saying that the catalyst was Jada sleeping with the son's.
Well, it's just
friend
not
or
it's not
whatever.
just Jada. It's not just Jada. Because if Jada sleeps with the son's friend and they're in their own living room talking this out, not on TV, like I said, they made that choice to do that,
Right.
not on TV, because when you do it on TV, now you get all these people in your business talking stuff.
Exactly.
Right. So I'm saying a lot of it could have been avoided if Jada and Will said, "Hey, let's not put this on air. Let's have a talk, just me and you." That's how it should have been in the first place. Nobody should have known their business. I mean, just like the stuff that's seeping out that Beyonce and caught Jay-Z. I don't know if it's true. I'm just saying, but Beyonce caught Jay-Z sleeping around. I don't know, but we don't hear them. They're not on no table talking all this bull crap. Nope,
This
they
is
walk into places together, holding hands, and whatever they're doing, they work it out themselves.
and this is
Couples
what I'm
work it
saying.
out
So
themselves.
they made this couple made a conscious choice to put their business in the street. So whether it was Jada's fault, whether it was Will's fault, whether you want to blame Chris Rock, whatever, Will Smith still made the conscious choice to get up out of his seat, walk up to that stage, and slap Chris Rock. Never
Okay,
should have.
my mama keep on saying that it was Jada's fault. That's my mama would say it's Jada's fault. Jada's fault. We got you, mom. It's Jada's fault.
I
All right.
know, and Miss
It's
Deborah, I'm still pushing back on that one.
no, you need to understand. If I say it's Jada's fault, I'll be canceled on all social media networks. So, but no, honestly, got true. I think they all have some. They all have blame in it. Uh, no, when I say they all, I'm talking about Will and Jada.
Mhm, mhm,
I exonerate Chris Rock of all blame, and I will battle anybody with that. Chris Rock had no blame, even to the joke he told. He had no blame. She sparked that joke to be told, not him. Yeah, he didn't have to tell the joke. But again, if I hurt your feelings one way, that don't mean your man come and put his hands on me. And my thing is that the joke is not all them because, like he said at the end, he said, and I don't care. I like how he threw the mic down. He said, I
mhm,
have parents, and my parents told me don't fight in front of white people.
mhm,
Now he said the same thing by making a joke in front of a bunch of white people, but I understand. The fact
mhm,
is, all that's been on that man's chest all this time. He's been people been asking about him, wondering what's going on, this and that. Uh, rumor is, of course, Will tried to reach out to him, but he didn't want to take his call and all the other stuff. So at the end of the day, however Chris Rock wants to fight back, he deserves to fight back how he wants to. But now that I heard his side to the story, yeah, I'm on Chris Rock's side. Will Smith did a B move. He never should have came up there and touched him or anything else.
I have a comment.
Go for it.
um, I agree wholeheartedly, but I do have to. And Miss Deborah, I'm not picking on you today. I am really not picking on you, but I see a comment when you said yes, it was uh just a joke. So when um white people make comments about black people and they say it was just a joke, is that just a joke or is it different?
Nah, that's a microaggression.
Okay, all right.
Microaggression and a joke is two different things.
They are. They are. I had to ask the question. I had to ask the question because I know that somebody out there is going to say, "Well, what about when?" That's why I had to ask the question. So,
Well, I said, I had to have the discussion because I freshly watched it and I wanted to urge you to watch it and see what you thought about. I'm just glad that there's a lot of different outlooks and we all see things
yeah.
different through
Hmm.
a different lens. Like I said,
Hmm.
I stole this topic. Everyone to know I stole this topic from Solid Blue Sister. She actually had a show called Two Sides Every Story, and I thought that after I heard this, the first thing that came to my mind was this is the second side to every story. As long as the narrative was what we all thought it was, a lot of people thought that not Chris, but Will was protecting his wife, protect black women at all costs. He was protecting his wife, and he was doing the right thing. But now I'm with Chris Rock. Charlemagne called you a bitch. All these people called you a bitch. Chris Rock called you a bitch. And if this ever blows up, Will Smith, I'm calling you a bitch because that was a bitch move. Again, sorry, I'm cursing my mom. Your final word, Solid?
You know, there are always two sides to every story. Everybody does see things in a different way, but when you put your hands on someone, that takes the story to a completely different level. Just don't, you can say whatever you want to say about me. You can call me whatever you want to call me. I have been called many, 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 many things. Just don't touch me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Solid.
So you want to, since you are taking lead, you're taking
All
lead today. You want to take us out?
right, everyone.
And
Yep. So
any,
y'all, this is Friendly Differences Podcast 2.0. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all that was in the comments. From my mom, from Katie, from Josephine. Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you for being actively there. And to my co-host, Solid Blue Sister, thank you for rolling with this topic. I appreciate you. Everyone else, this is DA Select from Black Cabinet Education, and this is a Friendly Differences Podcast 2.0 saying enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care.
bye.